is a Bramble Jam podcast.
Welcome to Girls Gone Hallmark, a Hallmark review podcast. I'm Megan, and I'm a longtime Hallmark fan.
I'm Wendy. I'm a former Hallmark hater.
Today, we are joined by a return guest to the podcast, and we know y'all are going to be so glad she's back. We would like to extend a very warm welcome to Kristin Booth, back to Girls Gone Hallmark.
Hi, thanks for having me back.
Thanks for being here.
So excited.
I know. We are so excited to have you back. You have a new movie coming out, Mystery Island, the second installment of the Mystery Island franchise. Mystery Island, winner takes all.
Mm-hmm.
And I know that you have a super dedicated Hallmark fan base, and they're going to be excited to see you in a brand new role. So is there something that, have you always wanted to do a mystery? What drew you to this role? How did it come about?
Well, I think mysteries are incredible. So I mean, SSD always has a bit of a mystery element. But this is even more so. This is more like, Agatha Christie and Clue and that kind of thing. So
Yeah.
I'm a big fan of those. So this was a wonderful opportunity for me to sort of dip my toe into the more authentic mystery series. And the role is really what drew me to the project. When I read Cece, I was like, I have to play her. She's just so larger than life,
Yes.
one should say. And I don't know if I've ever played a character so narcissistic.
Yeah, was that fun?
It was so much fun. Yeah, no, Cece is just, she's just so dry. And so I think ends up being hilarious. And it was fun to play that sort of dynamic with the rest of the cast.
Yeah.
She has a really funny podcasting line in the movie that
She does have a funny podcasting line. We were watching it and I sent it to, I was watching it at home and I sent it to Megan and I was like, listen to Kristin do this one. I don't do podcasts, or it was something along those lines. It was so funny. I just loved it so much. We were lucky enough to get an early screener of it. And like you said, I just laughed out loud at some of your scenes, which is just like the exaggerated eye rolling. And like, yes, she was so fun to watch because I was always watching her like in the background of the other scenes. I wanted to see what her reaction was to everything that was going on. Yeah, you were great.
Do you have a favorite genre to work within, either on Hallmark or in general?
I really don't, I love everything. I love being able to. So one of the things actually throughout my career that I've really been blessed, but also taken pride in, is that I have been able to work in every genre. And I think each genre brings new challenges and new fun. And so, yeah, I don't know that I have a favorite, but I always like to play, interesting, complex characters.
You're not new to the mystery genre, like you mentioned. Like SSD is mystery adjacent.
Adjacent, yes.
You also appear in the Amazon Prime series Cross.
Yeah.
And I will admit, I'm a big TV baby. I can't watch stressful TV. And the first episode, I was like, okay, I watched it. And
You were like, I'm out.
yeah, Wendy can attest. I'm a big baby. But talk about how working on that show differs from like a Hallmark mystery.
Well, for one, we shot that in Toronto where it was cold, and we shot Mystery Island in Panama where it was fabulously warm and beautiful, and we were on the ocean. But it's all the same to me as an actor. I don't differentiate or change my performance with regards to which network I'm working with or
Sure.
which, company I'm affiliated with in that sense, because essentially my job is to bring a character to life in no matter what the other parameters are, and to stay true to the story and the script. And so I really don't think about that when
Mhm.
I go into new project, whether it's Hallmark or Amazon Prime or whatever. I'm like, okay, who is this character and how do I create her and how do I make her layered and nuanced and interesting?
So speaking of your career, which is super varied, do you have a favorite project that you've worked on that you just look back and you feel like that was, whether it was the character or the experience making it?
I have so many.
Yeah.
Really, I really do. I mean, obviously, Signed, Sealed, Delivered is so close to my heart because, well, it's Shane, and I played her for almost, gosh, 12 years on and off. And so she's my baby. And that show is my baby because it's just lived with me for so long. I did an indie film years and years and years ago called At Home by Myself with You. And there's something really special about that film that I love and that experience. But then, there was the Kennedys, which again, like a completely different experience and unreal. And being able to portray Ethel Kennedy when she was alive was really an interesting job for an actor, knowing that there was this possibility that she may see my portrayal of her. And then there's Amazon Prime The Boys, right? And that was like completely different than anything else that I'd ever been a part of. So yeah, like it's just I've just been so blessed with the variation of people that I've been able to portray.
Yeah, I gotta say, your role on Working Moms was one of my favorite. I love that show so very much, and it's so very anti-Hallmark. That's kind of in my lane of like the stuff I enjoy. But yeah, I loved you on that show. I loved you on that show.
Aw, thank you.
I
Yes,
do
Cheryl. Cheryl was a piece of work.
I do really think that that is kind of unique, the huge variety of roles you've gotten to play, and also within that the opportunity like to play a character for so long, like to have
Mhm.
this, this huge career and then to also be this part of this major series. I mean, just to hear you talk about it, that's incredible, the number of things. I love that. Back to Mystery Island, did you at all hope that your character, there are no spoilers here, but were you ever hoping like that your character might be the murderer?
How do you know she's not?
I mean, I'm just saying.
I think Cece very, very possibly could have a murderous streak in her.
Hmm. Hmm. Let's circle back to Panama for a second. I remember when you posted a lot on your Instagram about being in Panama at that time,
Mhm.
and I remember like the postable fans were like, "She's on location somewhere." I'm looking through your photos, like trying to find out that that's what we do. How was Panama?
Oh, Panama was incredible. It truly was. I fell in love with it. I fell in love with the culture. I fell in love with the environment and the people there. And it was such a, I really, it was a gift. It was a gift to be there and work with the incredible crew, because the most of the crew was from Panama. And it was interesting too, because I don't speak a lot of Spanish or much at all. So I was always challenging in myself to try to communicate in their language, and so that was fun and challenging and wonderful, just wonderful people. And our crew and cast were amazing. Like everyone just really gelled and worked really well together. And so it was a wonderful experience. I mean, being in Panama, yes, but then coupled with the fact that I was working with all these incredible people, it was a real dream come true.
What a treat.
Yeah,
Were you there
definitely.
just for like 3 weeks, 4
3
weeks?
weeks.
Nice.
3 weeks, yeah.
Did your family go with you, or
No,
just a
no, it's
work
just,
only trip, huh?
yeah, just me.
So lovely.
I think one of the fun advantages of these mystery series on Hallmark is that you often get a big cast because we got to throw a lot. You know, they were trying to throw a lot at the viewer, throw everybody off. And
Hmm.
so that I feel like would deepen and enrich in the experience too, having such a big group of people to work with.
Yeah, absolutely. And working with Charlie and Elizabeth was amazing. They are incredible. And I think people are really going to like the continuation of Mystery Island, and there's, more to come after this one. So people have a lot to look forward to.
Yeah, it is a super fun franchise, I guess. I guess that's what we call it, right? A franchise, a collection of movies. I don't know. I remember when the first one came out, and we were like, "Oh, this is different. This is fun. This is like a mystery within a game. Like, it's so fun." I'm so glad that they decided to continue on with it, and that you get to be a
Hmm.
part of it.
Yeah, me too.
Um, Throwing it back to the holiday season, you had a cameo with one of our faves, Jefferson Brown, in the Christmas
Yes.
charade, which is timely because we're, as of today, we're almost about to wrap up our coverage of The Way Home,
Okay.
and we are the biggest fans of his. So, how did that come about, and how much did you love working with Jefferson?
Jefferson is lovely and talented and funny. So it was a great experience. I mean, it was only one night that we
Mm.
shot all that stuff together.
Wow.
But yeah, no, he's wonderful to work with. And it was such a fun role, a cameo to play because, you know, the whole Bond-esque element
Yeah.
to it, and I loved that, and I love old Hollywood glamour, so that was, they had incorporated a little bit of that in there as well, so it was great.
I remember I remember when we were prepping for that, we saw mention of you and Jefferson, and we messaged you and we're like, "Do you have a scene with Jefferson Brown?" And you gave nothing away. So when it came on screen, I was like, "Look, it's them." It was great. It was a great pairing. I loved it.
Yeah, I read quite a bit of fans saying, when are they going to have their like full
Yes.
thing, so
That
that
would
was
be
really nice.
an amazing pairing.
I think
The
so,
two of
yeah.
you.
I think
Yes.
so too. Yeah.
Yeah, let's make it happen. I mean, we are getting The Way Home season 4, but uh I think I would love a Christmas movie featuring the two of you.
Yeah.
When we talked to you last time, which was a while ago, we talked briefly about your work on the short Capacity that
Yes.
you've just shared is now going to be screened at the Canadian Film Fest. I mean, you're deeply involved. You wrote, you directed, you star in it. And the story is about a woman who's been failed by the mental health system.
Mhm.
Was this story in particular important for you to tell?
Yeah, incredibly
Yeah.
important for me to tell. It's a story that's very close to home. I excuse me. I am a mental health advocate. I am someone who suffers from depression and anxiety at times. And so I also have been close with people that have other, mental illnesses that they're struggling with. And I think the more information and the more we talk about it, the less stigmatized it will be, and the easier it will be for people to be open about it and to get the help that they need and not feel that sort of shame that comes with it.
Yeah. Do you know? I mean, I know it's being screened in person. There's not a way for people to access that virtually at this point.
Not
There?
yet, not
Okay.
yet. Eventually, we hope that, yeah, we'll be able to put it up and on like a Vimeo or something like that.
Oh,
And
nice.
Yeah.
and then people will have more access to it for sure.
Well, the trailer, we'll leave a link to it, but you posted the trailer on your Instagram and it's stunning. So we're
Thank
very
you.
excited for you.
Yeah, my husband Tim Ware and I, we worked side by side on that, and co-directed it and co-wrote it, and yeah, it was a really incredible experience to be able to do that project with him as well.
How
Um,
often do you guys get to collaborate like that?
well, this was our first time. Like we had done a couple little things that we, just kept to ourselves in the past. And I do collaborate with him in his writing. And we did collaborate on A Winter's Dream, which was a Hallmark movie, Winter Wonderland movie a few years back, starring Christy Swanson and Dean Cain. And Tim wrote that, and I executive produced that.
The Postables will kill us if we don't ask. And I don't know if you know, but we do have one more Signed, Sealed, Delivered movie headed our
Yes.
way.
To the moon and back.
Yes. We're all on the edges of our seats. We know that there are babies going. I mean, we hope, we think. Is there anything you know about that you could talk about, or are we just going to have to wait excitedly?
All I know is that we don't have an air date yet. But I also know that as soon as we do, nobody will be without that information. And
Yeah.
we will all be posting
Yes,
very
shout it from the
excitedly
rooftops.
yes. But yes, there is quite a bit of anticipation for that. I know.
Yeah, we get
Yeah.
asked a lot about it, and we're like, how would we know? We don't know. We're waiting with everybody else.
We're like, we can't wait either. It's so funny because in our Facebook group, one of our listeners just went on a Signed, Sealed, Delivered binge, and it was fun to watch him kind of go through the phases of watching all the movies and him having a favorite and him processing what was happening. And what we've always loved about that community is the Postables. They like really came up alongside us when we watched that movie, but as he was processing it, they were like, okay, now take in all of this other information that we as super fans of the show have. It's just such a deep watching experience
Yes.
with that fandom that I just don't think you get. Some shows really kind of generate that sort of almost rabid fandom and,
Mhm.
they go deep. And I just think you never know what it's going to be that creates that level of engagement, but it's such a special thing. I mean, special feels like not a big enough word, but it's a cool thing you guys have created over there.
Yeah, no, it's incredibly unique and special, and I think the fans really are the heart of that show and that series, because they have been the ones that have campaigned and kept it going, and it's incredible too when a show like that isn't consistently airing new episodes can continue to build upon that fan base.
Yeah.
And that's what's been really incredible about Signed, Sealed, Delivered, is that fan base has continued to grow and continues. I often get messages from new postables, uh,
Yeah.
saying, I just discovered this show. How did I not know this existed before? And I've come on and joined the fandom, and it's a testament to, I think, how incredible the show really is, and how layered and how deep it goes, and how the characters all um complement each other in ways, but are also so vastly different. And I think it's just an incredibly unique show and pairing of characters, and the writing is, Martha's writing is so layered, and she's always bringing back things from past movies, and where you can see parallels and correlations and all that kind of stuff, and it's just a very engaging type of series, I think, because of all of those elements.
Yeah, that was us last summer when we took on watching that series and reviewing that series. When Megan and I first started it, we were like you said, like, wait a minute, where has this show been? Why haven't we heard about it? We had heard about it, but like, why hadn't we watched it before? Like, this is incredible. And like you said, how Martha so brilliantly like weaves all of it together so perfectly. It's just beautiful. I love that show so much.
Yeah.
I think about it often. I feel like it's like my Roman Empire. Sometimes I'll just be like, I wonder about whatever, blah, 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 like on a Tuesday afternoon, on doing carpool or something like that. I just love it so much. It's so good.
Yeah, it's very special. Very special.
Well, and our experience was deepened, obviously by sitting down and talking about it, but we got to know you and Crystal through the show. And one thing I love knowing because of that you guys are so close. I just love like watching on social media the way you guys are each other's biggest cheerleaders, even when you're on entirely different projects. That's so fun to watch. Like the relationships that have been forged from the show exist completely separate from that.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. And I'm quite close with Martha as well. And we all, we all support one another. We all keep in contact. And even when, months and months can go by, and then also too, when we pick up a new episode, like when we go to shoot something new for the franchise, I mean, it's literally like we pick up where we left off.
Like a family.
Yep.
Speaking of projects, what's in the works for you? Anything you can share? What's next?
Well, Mystery Island on the 13th, which I'm very excited about. And Capacity is starting, obviously, it's festival rounds and we're starting off at the Cannes Film Fest in Toronto, which is really exciting.
Wow.
So we're looking to hopefully have it in many more festivals. This is hopefully the first of many. And then I wrote and I'm about to direct another short film. So we'll see what happens there.
Do you want to do more directing like that?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I definitely enjoy it, and and it's definitely a different way to be a storyteller. And you have so much more input and control over the entire story as opposed to when you're an actor. But I'll never, give up acting because it's my first love.
I love that. You're super active on social media. Where can the listeners best find you to keep up with what's going on with you?
I'm on Instagram at Kristin T. Booth. And I kind of left Twitter.
Yeah.
So Instagram is kind of the place to find me for the most part. I have a TikTok account, but I don't ever use it.
Yeah. We can relate. Well, we loved catching up with you again. As mentioned, Mystery Island Winner Takes All does premiere on Hallmark Mystery on Thursday, March 13th, which, as this episode drops, is tomorrow, and will be available to stream on Hallmark Plus as well, if that's where you actually...
Yes, and big announcement.
Oh.
It is being aired on the Hallmark Channel simultaneously.
That's amazing.
Very
Yes.
cool.
I love that. Well, thank you for sharing that, because I know not everybody gets both. Cable channels are weird. Cool.
Yeah.
Well, Kristin, thank you so much. This was so much fun.
Thanks for having me.
For listening to this episode of Girls Gone Hallmark, a Bramble Jam podcast. We'll leave links to where you can find everything Kristin's working on in our show notes, and we'll see you next time. Goodbye.
Bye.
All right, friends, before we go, just a quick heads up. You're about to hear some ads. These little gems help us keep the show running and the Hallmark love flowing. So do with that info what you will. Grab a snack, hit the skip button, or maybe, just maybe, listen in and discover your new favorite product. Bye.